The elect. Romans chapter 10 and 11 are in the focus this week, looking more at chapter 11. There are so many things that come to mind when talking about the elect, from responsibility, duties, to corruption, benefits, abuse, and so on.
We ended our study last week by clearly stating that the nation of Israel had established their own righteousness. They did not submit themselves to God's righteousness. It was all about works done in the name of satisfying the demands and the requirements of the law. However, according to Paul, in chapter 10, verse 4, he says, Christ is the culmination of the law, which means that the law had a direction, which the Israelites, Israel, did not accept it. They were seeing very well the condemnation that was flowing from the law by revealing the nature of sin. But they did not see the grace that it was pointing to.
Paul's rhetoric can be reproduced. You have to read the text. It talks about Israel, but if we are open and honest, it can sound so much about us. We do things our way. We explain things our way. But it's a journey from hearing through experiencing, cherishing, connecting with our heart, to testifying about what Jesus is doing for us. The weird thing is that the more we try to do things our way, the more it doesn't work. Paul cites Isaiah where God is saying, I was found by those who were not trying to find me. I made myself known to those who were not asking for me.
Was it a new phenomenon at the time of Paul that Israel was not bearing the light of salvation anymore, something that God had entrusted him with? Definitely not. It was not big news. In fact, Paul reminds them of Elijah, who felt so lonely. He says, I was the only one left with God amongst those Israelites, multitudes of Israelites, who instead of representing him, he says, were killing his prophets and tearing down his altars. And they wanted to kill him too, Elijah. God replied and revealed him that he had reserved 7,000 people, men and women, who have not bowed their knee to Baal.
Can we think that we are the only left Protestants? The only one that cares for God and are faithful? Elijah was 7,000 times wrong. Paul is making some very interesting points. We are quick to judge and to jump to extremes. People are either great, amazing, big deal, or complete garbage, good for nothing, maybe even the face of evil. God's experience with humanity is a painful one. His experience with Israel hasn't been an easy one, but the knowledge about God was preserved and developed. The controversy developed. Messiah came. He was beaten and crucified by his own people, but the world was changed. The hope was born. Salvation was secured. This is our saga as human nation. We play roles. We grow with it. We make choices and take sides. We struggle to grasp how it's all about us, but not about us. For us, but not by us. Israel, Christians, Adventists, and so on, we play roles, but it's all about God's love for everyone.
Paul talks repeatedly about a remnant, elect group that remained faithful in carrying out his mission. And let's not forget, as the lesson reminds us again, that this group is elected for a special service, special mission. None of the reject are rejected as a group from salvation. They're stripped out of their role and purpose. This is everything that Paul addresses. But salvation remains a personal and individual choice.
We are reminded of the symbolism of the tree and the branches. We are branches and can't feed the tree. Some branches are falling and new ones are being ported from different places because the tree has the power.
Paul never saw Israel as a failure. In his mind, the root and the sap remained the same. He saw that the Gentiles were grafted in amongst the others and now share the same promises and mission as those who remain faithful and rooted in God's righteousness. Now, those who fell as broken branches of the tree can be grafted back again if, says Paul, they do not persist in their unbelief, according to verse 23. And this is the gospel in its essence. Grace is always available for those who believe. In fact, Paul had good news for his people.
Some may speculate on how things are going to develop in the future, what roles who is going to play. But the lesson for me from the last part of chapter 11 is that we all affect each other. Our testimonies, our rebellions, our struggles, they all affect the unfolding of the controversy and our grasp of what is being done for us. I don't really get and understand how this stuff exactly works in the way Paul explains them in verses 30 to 32. At one time, you did not obey God, but now you have received mercy because Israel did not obey. In the same way, Israel has not been obeying God, but now they receive mercy because of God's mercy to you. God has found everyone guilty of not obeying Him. So now He can have mercy on everyone.
Paul definitely ends chapter 11 with some very puzzling and open to different interpretation thoughts. Definitely he hasn't given up on Israel, but also he sees the great benefit of Gentiles receiving mercy due to the disobedience of Israel. Also, he sees that Israel will receive mercy from God too. There is a feeling of equality at the end. There is a feeling of fairness, which culminates mainly in underlying God's grace, God's mercy to all, Gentiles and Israel.
Romans 11:33 to 36. How very rich are God's wisdom and knowledge. How He judges is more than what we can understand. The way He deals with people is more than what we can know. Who can ever know what is in the Lord's mind? Or who can ever give Him advice? Has anyone ever given anything to God so then God has to pay him back? All things come from Him. All things are directed by Him. All things are for His good. May God be given the glory forever. Amen.